Hello, everybody. Len No here again. Day one Hack RedCon, and we are here with Roman. Roman, why don't you take a minute and introduce yourself to the listeners?
Hey, everyone. So my name is Roman Bohuk. I'm the co-founder and CEO of MetaCTF. We're founded about 9-10 years ago, but we run custom cybersecurity competitions, and we also have a hands-on learning platform for teaching cybersecurity skills.
This is awesome. You happen to be part of one of my favorite leisure time activities. Now, for anybody that doesn't understand what CTF means, that is a capture the flag, which, if we were all go back to our youth, had one meaning, but for cybersecurity professionals, this is like the ultimate in hacker scavenger hunts. So essentially, you guys will create a scenario, create a flag on a machine, and then it's up to your attendees or occupants to try and find it, right?
Yeah, there are a few different types of CTFs. So there's Jeopardy-style attack and defense, depending on who you ask. There's a bunch of other ones. The most common you'll see at conferences is called Jeopardy-style, especially in the US. And the way it works is participants are given a list of challenges that cover a wide range of topics, a wide range of difficulties. And your goal as a participant is to find a flag, and the flag is just a string of text. So for example, in a web exploitation challenge, you might have to, right-click on the page and look at this source code, and that's going to be a very easy web exploitation challenge. A harder one might be using SQL injection, some kind of other RC vulnerability to steal a flag from the file system. Cryptography challenge, cracking a cipher, finding the flag that way. Forensics, maybe looking at a memory dump or network packet capture, trying to find some evidence of something that might have a flag in it. So all kinds of topics, all kinds of difficulties, and that's kind of the standard format that we usually do.
And the one thing that a lot of people don't realize when it comes to hacking, and this is just a broader statement, here in the United States, we had the Homeland Security Act pass, which basically stated anytime you gain access to another computer without express consent, that is a felony. So the question is always, how do offensive practitioners practice their skills? This is the answer. These are boxes that were designed for the specific purposes of exploiting and trying to learn offensive technologies. So what is your personal favorite? Because I'm the attack and defend kind of guy. I love the, have you ever done like the team challenge type stuff?
I've done attack and defense. We've run attack and defense CTFs as well. I'm not quite sure what you mean by team.
Where DEF CON, where you'll have like the teams join, and it's not just an individual sport, where you're working more as a collective. I personally, I think that's a lot harder than an individual because, it adds the complexity of personalities and, different skill sets. But to me, that has always been the greatest part about going to conferences is getting with your buddies, getting down there and just getting into the dirt.
I agree. I've organized a lot of competitions. I've participated in a lot of competitions. Many of them were team-based. And what I've seen is that a lot of teams that usually won weren't necessarily always the teams that were the most technical. They were the ones that, didn't crack under pressure. I used to participate in CCDC, Collegiate Cyber Defense Competition. And what I often heard about white team members observing other teams is that as soon as a service goes down or something happens, you start blaming each other, you start just shutting down. And I think the teams that ended up doing well usually didn't struggle with that. They had fun.
I did some work with another group a while back. They were called the Hacking Esports Challenge. You ever heard of those guys? They're not around anymore.
I've heard. I think there's been a few esports hacking related CTF organizations.
Yeah, this one was based out of Brazil. Taking what a standard CTF and let's stick a time limit on it. That was one of the funniest things. And to be honest, I did more color commentary, and there's nothing like acting like you're doing the commentary for like the World Series, but when, he's about to do a SQL injection.
Yep.
And I don't know why we don't see more of that.
Well, we're going to be running a conference. Well, not us. We're helping run a conference. We're going to be running a CTF there in October. We're planning to bring a bunch of good teams from all over the country, and we're hoping to have some more commentary. So maybe I'll talk to you after.
I was going to say, can we say what the conference is?
It's called CyberBay.
And can we get any details on this?
Yeah, so it's going to be the first year of the conference. It's being held in Florida, I think in Tampa, and the idea is to help bring representatives from the government, from the industry, from academia, students, to help kind of build up this build up Tampa area as this like cybersecurity center.
I love it. I think we should have more cybersecurity in all aspects of our life, but that's probably due to the fact that I know how screwed up the world really is.
Yeah.
But I would like to see more. Maybe we can talk afterwards. And there are celebrities within the cybersecurity community. I mean, and if you take a look, we can all talk about the number one that everybody knows.
John Hammond.
Oh, John Hammond.
IPSec.
I know John Hammond. He's a great guy, but no. Mitnick.
Okay.
Come on, Kevin Mitnick was the first hacker.
Or makes sense.
Well, let's be honest, he wasn't a hacker, he was a freaker. But that's neither here nor there. But we have our celebrities, your John Hammonds, Marcus Hutchins. There are people out there that, if we did do CTFs and things like this, we could start seeing a real uptick in popularity of security and offensive security in general.
Yeah, I mean, I think they've definitely brought a lot of attention to this field. And I've been seeing a lot of people trying to get into the field. I think a big issue right now is that a lot of people are trying to get a job in cybersecurity, but they're having a really hard time.
Yeah.
And I think the issue is that there's just I think a lot of companies are looking for people with experience, and there's not as many entry-level jobs. And so I think they're doing a good job kind of helping people learn those topics and get some experience and skills.
The experience over knowledge has always been, something that's plagued the industry and in general. But, I want to throw out there, in terms of what you see coming from your side of it, with the advent of the machine learning type automated pen testing programs, the cyber insurance requirements for continuous threat modeling, how do you think CTFs and just our abilities to act as security practitioners are going to play out in the future, where we're competing against artificial intelligence, machine learning for the same type of activity?
Yeah, I mean, that's a big question for us, because as a cybersecurity learning platform, we kind of feel responsible for teaching people skills that are going to be relevant to them and making sure that they succeed in their career. And we're worried that maybe some of the skills that we're teaching them might not be relevant in a year or two. And so what we try to do is make sure that people have the foundations, and we're starting to add some content where we teach people how to use AI, because I think I can see companies hiring people not necessarily based on their technical ability, but on their ability to, well, definitely their technical ability, but also on their ability to interact with AI and use AI tools.
There was a really good article that I read on futurism.com the other day that basically stated that giving a student the advice of learning to code is actually worse advice than telling them to get a face tattoo. So as somebody that's in the educational side of this, I've said for a long time, when new people trying to break into the industry as far as cyber have come to me and they're like, what should I learn? And I'm like, you need to learn language. You need to get your fundamentals, but you need to learn how to be able to ask those questions in such a way that you'll get the correct answer. I currently am quite concerned about what the future for our industry looks like.
Yeah, I agree. I think language, I mean, going back to fundamentals, right now AI is at a point where it can definitely solve a lot of things for you, but especially for more harder challenges, you kind of need to feed it a little bit more information. And so you do need to have some understanding yourself what you're talking about.
Absolutely.
And so maybe not necessarily knowing all the details of different technologies, tools, but just being able, but just knowing what they are and having a good conceptual understanding of how things work, I think is a good starting point for that.
Awesome. So we are here at HackRedCon, beautiful Louisville, Kentucky, the bourbon capital of the world. So how do you feel the show has been so far for you?
Pretty good. So we're going to be running a Capture the Flag competition tomorrow. So today was mostly set up, helping people understand what a CTF is, encouraging them to sign up and participate. We're going to have some really fun challenges.
Now, do you have to be on site to participate?
You do. For this
one, did you hear that? If you didn't make it, your loss.
We do run free monthly public events as well. So we have a bunch of public ones, but usually we go to 20, 30 conferences a year. And so we'll like to keep it kind of local to a conference.
Yeah, the whole point of that question was to just get everybody that didn't actually make it here to feel bad. They missed the opportunity. They don't get to hang out with you. They don't get to do the CTF.
Yep. You should feel bad. So we're going to have some fun challenges tomorrow. I mean, traditional web exploitation, forensics, cryptography, reverse engineering, OSINT, binary exploitation. But we're also going to have some LLM hacking there as well.
Prompt injection, poisoning?
Mostly prompt injection. I think there's going to be one where it's a...
Don't give the answers?
I mean, I for some of those questions, I can give the answer. Folks are still going to struggle. And so
it's like a proof in algebra. We're going to give you the answer. Now you got to prove how we got it. Okay.
Yeah. But I think there's one where you have an LLM kind of pre-screening the prompts, and so to make sure just to validate if they're good or bad, and then pass them on. So you have to kind of convince both LLMs to give you the flag. But
I miss the good old days when ChatGPT first came out, and you were like, "This is for research," or "Give it to me in the style of Grandma's cookie recipe."
Yep. Well, it's been harder to get ChatGPT to help me with like cybersecurity and CTF questions. Not that much more difficult.
Are you familiar with White Rabbit Neo?
I don't think so.
For any type of offensive security, and yes, this is a shout out to my buddies over at White Rabbit, there is a dedicated offensive AI called White Rabbit Neo.
Nice.
And if you're looking for help with CTFs or offensive security, give it a try. It by far surpasses any of the other ones in terms of the space that we're trying to occupy.
That makes sense. Yeah, because one of the issues is that when I ask questions related to cybersecurity, it's always like, oh, I can't help you with that. But as soon as you say, oh, I'm doing this for a CTF challenge, and it immediately,
no problem.
Yeah, it just switches and gives me the answer.
Yeah, I love how easy it was to be able to bypass the guardrails. And I've always said that when it comes to large language models, that is going to be the issue. In my opinion, LLMs are nothing more than like 12-year-old children. They know all the bad words. They know what they're not supposed to know. And the only reason they're not saying it out loud is because mommy and daddy said so.
Yep.
So I think we're in for a very interesting kind of a year. So what do you guys have planned? Any upcoming events that you would like to announce for everybody?
So we're going to have we run monthly Flash CTF competitions. So those are 2 hours, 5 challenges, very low commitment.
Is there a bonus for whoever finishes first?
Yeah, I mean, so like over $500 in cash prizes. This month we gave away a ticket to DEF CON. So
if you made it to DEF CON, come see me at the Adversary Village. Got to throw a plug in there.
Sounds good. But for the next 2 or 3 Flash CTFs, we're also going to be, so that conference that I talked about in October, we're also going to be, the winners will get a chance to have their travel expenses covered to go to that conference as well.
Awesome. So for all of you offensive people out there that like me that want to play with CTFs, and you don't know how many times I've heard, I can't afford tickets to DEF CON. I can't afford to go. All you got to do is show your chops, be the first one in, and you're going to get a ticket. So I really appreciate your time today. Thank you so much for stopping by. Anything that you want to say on your way out? Any last words to our audience?
No, I mean, cybersecurity is a great field. If you want to learn some hands-on skills, check us out.
MetaCTF is one of the top out there, so if you haven't checked them out, please do so. Once again, we've got interviews happening all conference long, HackRedCon. We'll see you on the next interview.